Have you ever been right there, on the precipice, feeling like you've poured absolutely everything you have into something, and yet success still feels impossibly far away?
I know that feeling.
That gut-wrenching moment when the exhaustion really sets in and doubt starts whispering, telling you to just give up.
Yeah. We've all been there, right? That feeling of hitting a brick wall.
Exactly. Believing your best simply isn't good enough. Well, here's the thing, the crucial insight. That exact moment.
Yeah.
That's precisely where most people falter. They abandon their efforts.
Okay.
But it's also, and this is kind of surprising, it's the very forge where true, lasting success is actually shaped.
So the point of quitting is actually the point of making it.
In a way, yeah. That's where the real test lies. And today, we're embarking on one of the most profound principles from Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich.
A foundational text for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hill, after spending decades meticulously studying over 500 of the successful people of his time, he came to this startling conclusion.
He dedicates a whole chapter, Chapter 8, to unveiling the undeniable power of persistence. He argues it's frequently far more vital, more impactful than raw talent or intelligence or even how much money you start with.
Just pause on that for a second. More important than talent or capital. That really goes against a lot of what we assume, doesn't it?
It really does.
And what's truly fascinating here is that Hill isn't just, offering a feel-good platitude. It's not just a vague motivational slogan.
Right.
He's presenting a principle that he meticulously distilled from actually observing people, from the concrete habits and the unwavering mindsets of real-world achievers, people who reshaped entire industries, defied all expectations.
Okay, so what's our mission then for this deep dive?
Our mission is really to unpack Chapter 8. He titled it, Persistence, the Sustained Effort Needed to Induce Faith and Transform Plans into Action. Catchy title.
Hey, yeah, we're going to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, like what persistence genuinely is, why it's so elusive for so many people, and crucially, how you can systematically cultivate this trait.
Okay.
How you can use it to transform your own ambitious plans, your deeply held desires, into concrete, measurable action. We'll look at the specific steps, the actionable stuff, and some truly surprising facts Hill uncovered. Basically, giving you a powerful shortcut to being thoroughly well-informed on this absolute critical trait.
Okay, let's unpack this concept then. Persistence. It's a word we hear all the time, isn't it? Especially in self-help circles, business.
Constantly.
But what does persistence really mean to you listening right now? Is it just being stubborn, refusing to yield?
Or just gritting your teeth through pain?
Right. Is it just pushing through difficulty no matter what? Because Hill gives us a definition that's, it's far more precise, more nuanced, actually, and ultimately much more powerful than just saying, don't quit.
He absolutely does. Napoleon Hill defines persistence as, and this is key, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith and transform plans into action.
Okay. Sustained effort necessary to induce faith and transform plans into action. Let's break that down. Each piece sounds important.
Critically important. You can't understand the whole picture without getting each part. So first, sustained effort.
Sustained effort.
Yeah. This isn't about a one-time heroic burst of energy, or a flash of brilliance that fades, or that fleeting surge of enthusiasm you get at the start of something new.
Which always feels great, but never lasts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, it implies continuous, unwavering exertion, energy and will, day after day, week after week, even when that initial spark of motivation has totally evaporated.
So even when you don't feel like it.
Especially when you don't feel like it. Imagine an athlete showing up for training every single day, regardless of how they feel, how tired they are, or if they can even see progress right away. It's about consistently putting in the work, doing the necessary tasks, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's the profound difference between, say, trying once and making an absolute non-negotiable commitment for the long haul.
Okay.
It's that relentless follow-through that, frankly, most people just miss.
That immediately highlights a common trap, doesn't it? We see people sprint out of the gate, tons of energy, but they just falter when the novelty wears off or it gets hard.
Precisely. And that leads right into the next component of his definition, to induce faith.
Induce faith. Okay, this sounds interesting. How does effort induce faith?
Well, this is where the magic really starts to unfold, where your internal landscape shifts dramatically. When you consistently put in the effort, day in, day out, even against challenging odds.
Yeah.
Even without getting immediate applause or reward.
Right.
You start to build this deep, undeniable conviction in your own ability. You begin to believe not just that the goal is possible, but more profoundly that you have the capacity to achieve it.
Oh, okay. So the action creates the belief.
It's a powerful feedback loop. Sustained, consistent effort builds undeniable internal proof. And that internal proof becomes unwavering faith. And that faith, in turn, fuels even more sustained effort. It becomes this virtuous cycle. Your actions strengthen your deepest beliefs about yourself, and then those beliefs propel your actions forward with even greater force.
Oh.
You begin to know deep down that you will succeed because you've demonstrated it to yourself through your consistent struggle, through your willingness to show up when it was hard. You prove it to yourself every single day.
That makes so much sense. It's like when you actually do the difficult thing repeatedly, you prove to yourself that you can do it. That internal validation that becomes the bedrock of your belief. It's not just hoping anymore.
Precisely. It's earned confidence. And finally, persistence is about transforming plans into action.
Okay, the final piece, the bridge.
Exactly. The ultimate bridge between the invisible and the tangible. We all have dreams, right?
Yeah.
Desires. Many of us even craft meticulous plans.
Oh yeah, the plans can look great on paper.
They can.
Yeah.
But without persistence, they just remain abstract ideas, wishes floating in the ether, maybe beautifully conceived, but never actually built.
You're right. Never realized.
Persistence is the indispensable catalyst. It takes those desires, those blueprints, those intentions, and it converts them into tangible, real-world results. It's the disciplined execution. It's the gritty, often unglamorous work that turns imagination into verifiable reality.
It's the doing part.
It's the essential doing part. And Hill simplifies it, yet powerfully for us. He boils it down to its purest essence. Persistence means refusing to give up no matter how many times you fail.
Refusing to give up no matter how many times you fail. Wow, that really hits home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It forces you to realize how many times we might have been just one step away from something incredible, but we decided to stop. We called it failure.
And Hill is absolutely unequivocal about this. He doesn't mince words at all. He explicitly states, quote, "Lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure."
One of the major causes, not just a cause.
Right. And this isn't just some casual observation from an armchair philosopher. This is a fundamental, observable pattern he identified across his extensive, meticulous research into the lives of hundreds of successful people.
Okay.
He elaborates on the common trajectory most people follow. They launch into a new venture, pursue a new goal, adopt a new habit, usually with this initial surge of excitement, right?
Yeah.
A burst of high motivation.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Often fueled by some early positive results or just the sheer novelty. They're enthusiastic. They can vividly envision the success. They feel unstoppable. But then, inevitably, obstacles arise. Challenges appear. The path gets rocky or unexpectedly steep or sometimes just tedious.
Right.
Like grind sets in.
And that is precisely the moment they stop. Dead in their tracks. The initial motivation wanes, the novelty dissipates, and without a deeper underlying commitment or a framework for continued action, they just pivot away, get distracted, or give up entirely.
It's human nature, though, isn't it? To seek comfort, avoid resistance. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the path of least resistance. But it's so easy to do, isn't it? That initial high is powerful, but it's often fleeting. It's like motivation gets you to the starting line with a fanfare.
Yeah, it gets you all pumped up.
But what gets you through the grueling marathon? What gets you across the finish line when you feel like you've got nothing left?
Okay, so what is it then? What did Hill observe?
That's the crucial contrast Hill highlights. And it's a profound distinction. Successful people, he observes, keep showing up long after the motivation is gone.
Long after the motivation is gone.
Yes. This is a fundamental shift in mindset and in approach. It's the essential shift from motivation-driven action to discipline-driven action.
Okay, motivation versus discipline.
Motivation is a fantastic spark, don't get me wrong. It ignites the initial fire, gets you going. But discipline, fueled by unwavering persistence, is what keeps that fire burning steadily, even when the initial spark has flickered out and the emotional fuel tank feels completely empty. It's the deep-seated commitment to the process, to the daily grind. Regardless of how you feel on any given day, you don't wait for inspiration to strike. You simply execute the plan.
You just show up, do the work.
Show up, do the work. Think about it. How many times have you felt that initial surge of excitement for a new project, maybe a fitness routine, learning a new skill?
Oh, countless times.
And then you face the inevitable challenge. A setback, maybe a lack of immediate progress, or maybe just a discouraging word from someone. And then you find yourself tempted to quit that moment. That's the ultimate test of true persistence. It's the unyielding gatekeeper to any significant, lasting achievement.
That's incredibly relatable. I can think of so many times I started something with a bang, only to fizzle out when the real, unglamorous work started. It feels like the human default, really.
It often is.
But Hill doesn't just leave us hanging there, does he? He doesn't just diagnose the problem and say good luck.
No, absolutely not. That's the beauty of his work.
He gives us a practical roadmap, right? A strategic blueprint for intentionally building what he calls unstoppable persistence. Okay, let's unpack this. What's this clear roadmap Hill gives us for building this vital trait? He breaks it down into 4 pillars.
Yes, exactly. 4 powerful pillars. And these are the bedrock, the foundation upon which genuine, unyielding persistence is built. They're not just abstract concepts either. They're actionable components that work together, like synergistically. They reinforce one another to create this powerful, self-sustaining force.
Okay, pillar number 1, what is it?
The first pillar is a definite purpose backed by burning desire.
Okay, definite purpose, burning desire, foundational.
Absolutely foundational. The starting point for everything else.
Yeah.
Hill emphasizes you must know exactly what you want. It's not enough to say, oh, I want to be rich or I want to be successful.
Those are too vague.
Too vague. Just aspirations, nice to haves. A definite purpose, in Hill's view, is specific. It's quantifiable. It often has a deadline. For example, I will earn $100,000 by December 31st of this year by providing X service or creating Y product and selling Z units.
Okay, super specific, like a GPS coordinate for your goal.
Exactly. This specificity gives your efforts a clear target, a beacon to navigate towards. Without that definite purpose, your efforts lack direction. You're like a ship without a rudder, just drifting aimlessly. No clear North Star.
So it's not just about having a goal, but a crystal clear, meticulously precise goal, a destination you can actually plot a course to.
Precisely. And then, crucially, this definite purpose must be backed by a burning desire.
Okay, burning desire, what does that mean exactly? More than just wanting something.
Much more. This isn't just a mild preference or a fleeting interest you might explore if you have some free time. It's an intense, all-consuming emotional drive. It fuels your actions even when logical reasons might fail you, even when your rational mind is screaming at you to stop.
So it overrides the logic sometimes.
It has to. It's the why that makes the how manageable, no matter how difficult, uncomfortable, or challenging the circumstances become. This burning desire is your emotional fuel, your intrinsic motivation in its purest form. When you encounter setbacks, when doubt whispers those insidious thoughts, when external critics try to derail you, it's this deep, personal, emotional connection to your purpose that keeps you going.
Right.
It makes the arduous journey deeply meaningful. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth and resilience, rather than insurmountable reasons to quit. It's what allows that unshakable resilience to bloom. You know that what you're striving for is so profoundly important to you, so deeply intertwined with your identity, that failure simply isn't an option. You must find a way.
I can totally see how that burning desire would make all the difference. When you really feel the importance of something deep down, when it's tied to something personal, yeah, you absolutely find a way. You bypass all the logical excuses.
Indeed. You just keep going. Which brings us neatly to the second pillar, a definite plan.
Okay, pillar 2, definite plan. So, purpose, desire, now plan. Makes sense.
Right. Once you have that burning desire and that crystal clear specific purpose, you need a concrete roadmap, a strategy. And Hill adds this crucial qualifier, even if imperfect.
Even if imperfect. I like the sound of that.
Me too. This pillar highlights the indispensable importance of having a step-by-step approach. It's not enough to simply want something with all your heart. You must have a concrete idea of how you intend to achieve it.
Right, the how.
But the plan doesn't need to be perfect from the outset. In fact, Hill actively encourages starting with an imperfect plan because it promotes immediate action over that crippling analysis paralysis.
Getting stuck in the planning phase forever.
Exactly. The very act of planning itself is a commitment. It's a declaration of intent. It's a mental rehearsal of the path forward. It transforms the abstract desire into a series of actionable, manageable steps.
So the plan doesn't have to be flawless or fully detailed before you start, just a plan to get moving. That sounds incredibly liberating, actually. That pressure to have it all figured out perfectly, that can be a real psychological blocker for so many people.
It absolutely is.
Just having a plan, even a messy one, an evolving one,
Yeah.
this sounds like a huge step forward.
It truly is. It cultivates the vital mindset of progress over perfection. The key is to start.
Yeah.
Gather real-world feedback. Learn from every attempt. Adapt your approach based on what you discover. Continuously refine as you go. Think about it. A large, daunting goal can feel overwhelming, paralyzing, but a definite plan, by breaking it down into smaller, manageable, actionable steps, makes the entire journey seem less insurmountable.
Yeah, bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. It provides a tangible framework for consistent action. It allows you to track your progress, make necessary adjustments along the way, much like a pilot constantly adjusting course mid-flight. Without a plan, even the strongest desire can just dissipate into wishful thinking. It's the practical, disciplined application of your burning purpose.
Okay. Purpose, desire, plan. What's pillar 3?
Now, onto the third pillar, which is profoundly critical, especially today. A mind closed to negative influence.
Ooh, okay. A closed mind. That sounds counterintuitive sometimes.
Well, it's about closing your mind selectively. It's about psychological defense, about actively constructing and maintaining your mental fortitude. You must rigorously protect your mind from the insidious erosion of doubt, the paralyzing grip of fear, and the toxic opinions of others.
Oh, okay. So that's what it means. Protect it from negativity.
Processing. Negative influences can infiltrate from various sources.
Yeah.
Internal doubts, right? Stemming from past failures, insecurities, limiting beliefs.
Yeah, the inner critic.
Definitely. And then, of course, external critics, unsupportive friends, cynical family members, even just the negative news cycle constantly bombarding us. Hill deeply understood that your mental environment is just as crucial, maybe even more so, than your physical one. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, whether it originates from within or without, your resolve will inevitably erode. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom.
This is so important in today's world, isn't it? Where negativity can come at you from all angles, social media, casual conversations, constantly chipping away. It almost feels like a full-time job just protecting your mental space.
It really does. This pillar speaks directly to mental fortitude, emotional resilience. It's about consciously building a protective shield around your purpose, diligently filtering out unproductive negativity while still remaining intelligently open to constructive, well-intentioned feedback.
So it's not about ignoring reality.
Not at all. It's not about burying your head in the sand. It's about making a deliberate choice about what information and beliefs you allow to shape your internal landscape, your self-talk. And this ties directly back into the faith aspect of Hill's definition of persistence. If your mind is constantly assailed by doubt, if you permit external skepticism to become your internal truth, it's impossible to cultivate the unwavering belief necessary to sustain effort over the long term.
Right.
You have to be your own strongest advocate, your most fervent supporter, especially when others are questioning your path or expressing their own fears onto you.
So it's about curating your mental inputs, almost like curating your social media feed, but for your brain's operating system.
Yeah.
Filtering out the junk.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
You are the gatekeeper of your mind.
Okay. Purpose, desire, plan, closed mind to negativity. What's the fourth pillar?
And finally, the fourth pillar, often underestimated but powerfully impactful, a friendly alliance mastermind group.
Ah, the Mastermind concept. Hill talks a lot about that.
He does, and it's central here too. This pillar emphasizes the critical, often catalytic role of your environment, and more specifically, the people you consciously choose to surround yourself with. Hill firmly believed you should actively seek out and surround yourself with people who genuinely push you forward, who challenge you to be better, rather than those who hold you back, or maybe worse, enable your excuses.
Right. The accountability partners versus the commiserators.
Exactly. The power of a supportive environment, especially a formalized mastermind group, is immense, almost exponential. When you are part of a group with a shared purpose, maybe complementary skills, where minds can truly coalesce, the synergy can be extraordinary. Others' belief in your vision, their unique perspectives, their collective energy, it can powerfully bolster your own, especially during challenging times when your personal resolve might waver.
This sounds like a genuine superpower, doesn't it? Having people around you who genuinely lift you up and believe in your potential, even when you might doubt yourself for a moment.
It truly is. A well-chosen mastermind group provides invaluable accountability.
Yeah.
Diverse perspectives you might not have considered on your own. Constructive, honest feedback that helps you course correct and grow. When you're part of a collective working towards something meaningful, the individual commitment to persistence is significantly strengthened by the collective energy, the shared purpose, the mutual support.
It makes it harder to quit, I guess.
Absolutely. It provides a crucial layer of encouragement and allows for pooling of knowledge, resources, even connections. It also creates a powerful sense of shared responsibility. It's inherently harder to quit when you know others are counting on you, relying on your contributions, and actively contributing to that shared vision.
Right. You don't want to let the team down.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Hill actually dedicates an entire later chapter, as you know, to the profound power of the mastermind, but this concept of a friendly alliance is a key component right here in persistence. It highlights its fundamental importance in sustaining effort and belief and truly amplifying individual persistence.
Okay, those 4 pillars: definite purpose with burning desire, a definite plan, even imperfect, a mind closed to negative influence, and a friendly alliance or mastermind. That's a solid foundation.
It really is.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because Hill doesn't just theorize, right? He doesn't just lay out these pillars. He backs his claims with powerful, indelible, real-life examples from his research.
Exactly.
He shows us what this level of persistence actually looks like in action through the lives of true titans, proving these principles aren't just abstract ideas, but observable realities.
Indeed. And these stories aren't merely charming anecdotes. They are rigorous case studies in unyielding, almost superhuman persistence. Take Thomas Edison, for instance.
The classic example, the light bulb.
Right. But the world-famous story of his invention, it isn't just about a singular moment of genius or some sudden flash of insight.
No.
It's about an unparalleled, almost obsessive commitment to continuous experimentation in the face of relentless setbacks. The source specifically mentions he failed thousands of times before perfecting the incandescent light bulb.
Thousands, not hundreds. Thousands.
Thousands. Think about that for a moment. Literally thousands of iterations, thousands of distinct attempts, thousands of moments where he could have, quite understandably, quite logically, thrown in the towel and just deemed the problem insoluble.
Anyone would have understood if he had.
Absolutely. But he didn't. And this monumental effort teaches us that true failure isn't the opposite of success. Instead, it's just a temporary deviation on the path to success.
Right.
Each failed attempt was simply a data point, a valuable learning opportunity, a systematic elimination of one more approach that wouldn't work, bringing him one step closer to identifying what would work.
So he reframed failure as learning.
Completely. It highlights an unwavering belief in the eventual outcome, a radical refusal to interpret setbacks as final, definitive defeat. He simply considered each attempt a necessary step to refine his understanding and eliminate more non-viable solutions. He famously said something like, "I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
Wow.
Thousands of times. That level of persistence is truly mind-boggling. It makes my own little setback seem utterly trivial in comparison.
Right. It puts things in perspective.
And what about Henry Ford? He also faced immense opposition and ridicule, didn't he? Not everyone was thrilled about the Model T idea initially.
Oh, absolutely. Henry Ford is another prime example of persistence in action against overwhelming odds. The source tells us he was criticized constantly, but stayed firm in his vision.
Constantly criticized.
By who? Everyone, it seems. Ford faced profound skepticism, outright derision, not only from investors who doubted his radical ideas for affordable cars, but also from established engineers who scoffed at his unconventional approaches to mass production, particularly the revolutionary assembly line.
Right, that was totally new.
Groundbreaking for the time, and it was met with significant resistance, financial challenges, public ridicule. Yet, his definiteness of purpose, remember Pillar 1?
Yeah, the definite purpose.
His crystal clear vision for a reliable, affordable automobile that every working family could own, that allowed him to persist, despite immense external pressure and internal struggles.
So his why was strong enough.
Incredibly strong. His internal conviction was so overwhelming, his belief in his vision so deeply ingrained, that it rendered the external criticism largely irrelevant to his actions and ultimately to his success. He was a living, breathing embodiment of that third pillar, the mind closed to negative influence.
He just tuned it out.
Essentially, yes. Demonstrated an almost impervious mental shield against doubt.
These stories are incredible testaments to human will, but there's one insight from Hill that truly fundamentally changes how you think about giving up. He has this powerful observation about that breakthrough moment, that moment that often feels like the end.
Yes. This is indeed a crucial insight, and perhaps one of the most profoundly encouraging nuggets from his entire body of work. Hill shared a revelation directly from the people he studied. More than 500 of the most successful people told me their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them.
Just one step beyond the point where defeat had overtaken them. Let that sink in.
It's powerful, isn't it? This quote encapsulates the core of the psychological battle inherent in persistence. We've all experienced that moment of utter exhaustion, right? That low point where everything seems to be conspiring against you, where defeat feels not just imminent, but utterly inevitable.
The bottom.
That is precisely the point where most people, logically and understandably, choose to throw in the towel.
And what Hill is saying is that that very moment, that lowest point, is often right before the breakthrough. It's the ultimate paradox.
Exactly. It's the darkest hour just before the dawn breaks. It's the final, most arduous, often emotionally draining push that ultimately yields the breakthrough, the solution, the success. This insight encourages you to radically reevaluate what defeat truly means in the context of pursuing a worthwhile goal. It suggests that often what feels like the absolute end of the road is actually the ultimate test, the final hurdle.
Right.
And the reward is just around the corner, waiting for one more ounce of effort, one more disciplined action, one more refusal to quit. It's a profound psychological revelation, a powerful mental reframing. It reminds us that the greatest successes are not just achieved, but often forged in the crucible of extreme perseverance. It forces you to genuinely consider, how often might you have been one step away from your own monumental success without even realizing it, simply because you stopped at the point of perceived defeat?
That's huge.
This single idea provides immense encouragement to persevere, knowing that your darkest moment, that feeling of utter exhaustion and hopelessness, might actually be your turning point, your breakthrough waiting to happen.
Okay, so we know what persistence is. We have the 4 pillars. We see the examples. But let's talk about the flip side. Why do so many people struggle with this?
Right. Building on that, what's equally fascinating here is not just understanding what persistence is and how it manifests, but also identifying the fundamental roadblocks. Hill, through his research, identifies key reasons why people struggle. The universal pitfalls that ensnare so many.
The common failure points.
Exactly. And understanding these isn't just about recognizing weaknesses. It's about identifying deeply ingrained human tendencies that we all need to consciously, actively overcome.
Okay, what's the first big one?
The first major impediment, and it circles right back to our very first pillar, is having no clear goal.
Back to definite purpose again. It really is foundational.
It's everything. If you don't have a definite purpose, a specific quantifiable target you're aiming for, then all your efforts lack direction, focus, and ultimately meaning. It's impossible to sustain consistent effort towards something ill-defined, vague, or constantly shifting. Without a clear destination, there's no way to measure progress, no way to know if you're even on the right path.
Which makes it super easy to get discouraged.
Incredibly easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, and eventually to just give up. People often mistakenly equate a vague wish like, I want to be happy or I want to be rich, for a concrete objective. And without that specificity, that detailed vision, there's absolutely nothing solid to ground their persistence in. It's like trying to hit a bullseye that you can't even see.
So it's that foundational definite purpose again. If you don't have that first pillar firmly in place, you're already starting at a profound disadvantage, setting yourself up for failure before you even begin.
Precisely. You're handicapped from the start. The second significant pitfall is a lack of self-discipline.
The knowing-doing gap.
Exactly that. This is the critical, often painful gap between knowing what you should do and actually doing it consistently, especially when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or just plain boring. It's the constant struggle to push past discomfort, to make the difficult choice to continue working when every fiber of your being wants to stop, procrastinate, or seek instant gratification.
Right, the lure of the easy path.
Hill recognized that genuine lasting success is rarely glamorous. It's almost always built on a solid foundation of consistent, often tedious, self-disciplined action. Without that intrinsic ability to choose long-term gain over short-term comfort, even the most brilliant plans remain unexecuted. Just theories. This directly ties into that natural human aversion to discomfort. We're basically hardwired to seek ease, and true persistence often requires embracing, even leaning into discomfort.
That's the real daily battle, isn't it? The one happening inside your own head, convincing yourself to do the hard thing even when you really, really don't feel like it, when the couch looks so much more inviting than the task at hand.
It absolutely is, and it's a battle everyone faces every single day. Then the third reason Hill points to is being influenced by others' doubts.
Okay, connecting back to the closed mind pillar.
Yes. We briefly touched on this, but it's such a pervasive problem it really bears repeating as a major pitfall. External negativity, a lack of genuine support, or outright criticism and cynicism from friends, family, colleagues. It can subtly, or sometimes very overtly, erode your internal resolve. When you're constantly bombarded with skepticism, with people telling you, oh, that's impossible, or are you crazy, it becomes incredibly difficult to maintain your own belief, especially if your confidence isn't fully solidified yet.
Yeah, it can really wear you down.
It does. People often inadvertently allow the fears, the limitations, the unfulfilled dreams of others to become their own. They abandon their most cherished goals under the crushing weight of external judgment or discouragement. It's that fear of judgment that can be so crippling, leading us to play small.
So if you're not actively, diligently protecting your mental space, that outside negativity can just seep in like a slow poison and completely drain your persistence, even when you initially had a strong purpose.
It's like an insidious form of mental corrosion, slowly eating away at your conviction. And finally, a very common and I think increasingly prevalent pitfall, especially in our modern world, is the expectation of quick results.
The instant gratification trap.
Totally. We live in an era of instant everything, instant information, instant entertainment, instant communication. People are conditioned to expect success to materialize on their desired timeline.
Which is usually...
yesterday.
Exactly. Often much, much faster than is realistic or even possible for anything of true lasting value. When immediate returns aren't forthcoming, when the path proves longer, harder, or more circuitous than they anticipated, they quickly become discouraged and give up. They mistake the initial struggle, the learning curve, or maybe a temporary plateau for outright failure, rather than seeing it as a necessary and often prolonged phase of growth and development. This pervasive impatience is a significant enemy of persistence in our modern age, maybe the most significant. That's a huge one. We're constantly bombarded with those overnight success stories, which we know are rarely actually overnight.
Never overnight.
And it totally skews our perception of how long things really take to achieve mastery or significant impact.
Exactly. We see the finished product, the highlight reel, not the decades of often unseen effort. These pitfalls, no clear goal, lack of self-discipline, influenced by doubts, expectation of quick results, they collectively reinforce Hill's central, undeniable idea. Success isn't primarily about being lucky or the smartest person in the room or having the most resources starting out.
Right.
While those things can certainly help, ultimately, success is about being willing to struggle longer than everyone else.
Willing to struggle longer. That's a choice.
It's a conscious, deliberate choice you make every single day. It's a commitment to out-struggle, to outwork, to out-persevere everyone else who comes up against the same or similar challenges. The people who ultimately succeed, who break through and achieve their lofty goals, are simply the ones who refuse to quit, who are willing to endure discomfort, uncertainty, and setbacks for a longer, more sustained period than their peers. It's a testament to sheer, unyielding will.
Okay, so we understand the pitfalls, we understand the principles. What does this all mean for you, the listener, right now, today? How do we take these profound foundational insights from Hill and actually apply them daily? Because Hill doesn't just give us theory or inspiring history, he provides intensely practical strategies, right, for cultivating this vital trait, turning persistence from an abstract concept into a daily actionable practice. He essentially gives us a training regimen for building this muscle step by step.
He absolutely does. And these are powerful, actionable strategies that you can begin implementing immediately, today. The first is to read your goal statement aloud twice a day.
Read it aloud, like out loud.
Out loud. Every morning, every night. This might sound deceptively simple, almost ritualistic, maybe even a bit silly to some, but its profound power lies in consistent repetition and in directly programming your subconscious mind. By vocalizing your definite purpose and your burning desire, you are constantly reinforcing it within your own mind.
Okay.
This daily affirmation deepens your conviction, strengthens your faith in the eventual outcome, and keeps your ultimate objective front and center. It prevents your goal from fading into the background noise of daily distractions or mundane tasks. It transforms a written statement into a living, breathing, unwavering commitment.
So it's not just a memo to yourself, it's like a daily recommitment ceremony, a solemn promise to your future self.
Precisely. It's an internal pledge you renew constantly. Complementing this, the second strategy is to visualize the outcome clearly every morning and night.
Okay, visualize. So see it in your mind's eye.
Exactly, but intensely. This goes beyond just reading the words. This involves vivid mental rehearsal, intensely pre-experiencing the success as if it has already occurred.
Okay.
See yourself already having achieved your goal. Immerse yourself in the rich details. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What sounds are you hearing? What emotions are you experiencing? Immerse yourself in that future reality. Visualization powerfully engages your subconscious mind. It makes the goal feel not just attainable, but utterly real and inevitable. It bridges the gap between your current reality and your desired future, creating this powerful magnetic pull towards your objective.
Right.
It helps solidify that faith aspect of persistence by making the future feel concrete, almost like it's already part of your being.
That's a powerful combination. Stating it aloud and then vividly seeing it as already done, it creates an almost visceral sense of belief.
It truly builds an internal blueprint for success, a mental map. The third practice is to take action every single day, no matter how small.
Every single day, no matter how small.
This is absolutely crucial for building unstoppable momentum and countering that paralyzing feeling of being overwhelmed by a large, audacious goal. Even if it's just one tiny step, sending a single email, making one quick phone call, writing just one paragraph, doing 5 minutes of focused research, reading one page consistent, daily action creates an unstoppable forward movement.
Right. Keep the ball rolling.
Keep the ball rolling. The cumulative effect of these incremental steps is enormous, far greater than people realize. It fosters a powerful habit of progress, and it relentlessly reinforces the identity that you are a person who takes action. Even when the inspiration isn't there, even when the path is unclear, it combats analysis paralysis and that common tendency to wait for the perfect moment.
Which never comes.
Which, of course, never arrives.
That's so important because a big, audacious goal can feel absolutely crushing if you only ever think about the distant end. But a small, consistent step every single day that feels achievable, almost comforting. It removes the grandiosity and replaces it with practicality.
It democratizes progress, makes it accessible to everyone every day. The fourth strategy is to build a routine that makes quitting harder than continuing.
Ooh, I like this one. Make quitting harder than continuing. How?
This is about intelligently engineering your environment and your daily habits for inevitable success. Design your daily schedule, your physical workspace, your social commitments in such a way that the path of least resistance leads towards your goal, not away from it.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, it could mean setting up your workspace to minimize distractions before you even start work. Committing to a specific, non-negotiable time slot for your goal-related work each day. Or having a prearranged accountability check-in with a partner or your mastermind group. When continuing your efforts becomes the default action, the decision to actually quit requires significantly more effort than simply pushing through one more time. You're leveraging the immense power of habit to bypass the need for constant willpower, freeing up your precious mental energy.
Right.
It's about being smarter, not just working harder or relying on pure grit all the time.
I absolutely love that idea, making it easier to just keep going. It's almost like tricking yourself into being persistent, setting up the rails so you can't easily fall off track.
It's intelligent design for your daily life. It gives you a strategic advantage. And finally, the fifth strategy is to surround yourself with people who push you instead of excuse you.
Back to the friendly alliance.
Exactly. This circles back directly to the mastermind concept, but applies it more broadly to your everyday interactions and social circles. Actively seek out and cultivate relationships with individuals who are genuinely positive, ambitious, inspiring, and unequivocally supportive of your goals and your growth. These are the people who will hold you accountable with love and rigor, offer invaluable constructive feedback when you need it, and genuinely celebrate your progress rather than enabling your excuses, mirroring your doubts, or subtly undermining your aspirations.
Yeah, avoid the crabs in a bucket syndrome.
Precisely. Their unwavering belief in you can be infectious, and their high standards, their pursuit of excellence, can naturally elevate your own. Your immediate environment profoundly impacts your persistence, either fueling it or draining it. Choose wisely.
Wow. So it's not just about cultivating a specific mindset. It's about active daily practices, intentional routines, carefully constructed habits. It truly is a skill, something that can be trained, refined, and strengthened like a muscle with consistent effort.
Exactly. It's a muscle that grows exponentially stronger with every deliberate exercise every single day you choose to practice it.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. Bring it all together.
Yeah.
What are the absolute core messages from this deep dive into Chapter 8?
All right. To synthesize the core, enduring messages, I think it becomes unequivocally clear, first, that persistence is absolutely essential to converting any deeply held desire into tangible, observable success.
It's the bridge.
It's the indispensable bridge, the vital connective tissue that takes your abstract wants, your ambitious dreams, and transforms them into concrete, measurable realities. Without it, even the most brilliant ideas or the most ambitious dreams, they just remain that unrealized potential.
Okay. Essential. What else?
The crucial, often counterintuitive insight, powerfully driven home by Hill's research, is that most people fail, not because they lack talent or intelligence, but simply because they quit too soon.
They stop just before the finish line, potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Success isn't reserved for the lucky few or the uniquely gifted. It's often just one more effort away, lurking just beyond the precise point where most people, overwhelmed by fatigue or doubt, surrender. That moment you feel like giving up, that darkest hour, might truly be the very moment you are about to break through to your greatest achievement.
And that's such a powerful takeaway because it radically reframes failure, doesn't it? It's not an endpoint, a definitive conclusion, but simply as a test, a checkpoint, a necessary stepping stone on your path. It tells you that the power to succeed is fundamentally within your control through the simple yet profound act of not stopping.
Precisely. And crucially, this isn't some innate, unchangeable trait you either have or don't have. You can absolutely deliberately train persistence like a muscle through consistent, disciplined action, through intentionally building supportive routines and environments, through consciously directing your mental focus. It's a skill that fundamentally develops and strengthens with practice, making you progressively stronger and more resilient with each challenge you face and overcome.
So you get better at being persistent by being persistent.
Exactly. And the undeniable truth, the simple reality is this. If you stop trying, if you abandon your efforts, if you disengage from the consistent push, then success simply stops too.
Right. It needs continuous fuel.
It's an active, continuous engagement with your goals, a constant forward motion. The very moment you disengage, the possibility of achieving what you deeply desire evaporates, almost instantaneously. Persistence isn't just a factor in success. For Hill, it's the sustaining force that continuously keeps success within your grasp. It's the engine that never quits.
So the ball is always in your court, isn't it? Are you listening right now on the edge of giving up, perhaps feeling that heavy weight of accumulated setbacks? Maybe, just maybe, that's the precise moment when everything is just about to change for you, when you're truly just one step beyond that point where defeats seem to finally overtake you.
It's a powerful thought.
We deeply encourage you to reflect on that powerful, often overlooked idea. Think about what you're working on right now, what challenging goal you're pursuing, and how one more consistent push, one more deliberate action, one more day of showing up might genuinely transform everything for you.
As profound and essential as persistence is, Hill reveals that it alone is not the entire equation for massive success.
Oh, there's more.
There's always more with Hill. What if invisible, often subconscious forces are working against you, forces residing deep within your own mind? How do you effectively fight the insidious fears that are silently controlling your decisions, undermining your persistence, limiting your potential, even when you believe you're giving it your absolute all?
Okay, so internal roadblocks beyond just lack of persistence.
Exactly. That's what Chapter 9 of Think and Grow Rich unveils. Power of the mastermind, the driving force.
Ah, the mastermind again, the driving force.
It's the profound secret behind cultivating unparalleled mental strength, unlocking a powerful strategic advantage, and experiencing truly limitless growth and achievement, particularly when two or more minds work in perfect harmony and absolute synergy, creating an energy that surpasses the sum of its parts.
So leveraging collective brain power and energy.
Precisely. It's a deeper dive into the collaborative, often overlooked, and profound psychological aspects that underpin long-term extraordinary success. Something to definitely explore next.
What an incredible journey into the very heart of unyielding persistence today. Keep digging, keep pushing, and remember that next step, that next disciplined action, it might just be the one that changes everything for you. Until our next deep...
If this audiobook inspired you, imagine what the next one will do. Subscribe now and turn your time into transformation, one audiobook at a time. Hit the bell so you never miss the words that could change your world.